Jackie Dean.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm very happy to rise to speak in the third reading of this bill, and a little dismayed, as always, in the contributions of some of the members across the House who use such inflammatory language such as unscrupulous developers, rich developers, Nationals, rich mates. I find that language a little bit offensive, and it brings to mind slightly old-fashioned. It brings to mind a development just north of Christchurch, it's called Pegasus, and it's a development just north of Christchurch, and it is, in fact, yes, the project of a developer. I would argue whether or not that developer was unscrupulous or rich. In fact, I would argue exactly the opposite. But what I would say about that developer is the person or the group of that company are the ones who are providing housing for people in Christchurch after the earthquake. Now, please, over the other side of the House, please tell me that that kind of development is bad for New Zealand. Please tell me that the Pegasus development, which has happened just north of Christchurch, I don't know how many sections there are, and let's widen it out to some of the developments that are happening around Rolleston, all around Christchurch. These are the so-called rich, the so-called unscrupulous mates of the National Party that are providing housing for people in Christchurch. So those Christchurch-based MPs who are railing against this RMA reform, please tell me how that can be bad. These people taking a punt, providing housing and providing sections and providing the infrastructure for people in... And see, the ex-member for Waimakariri, whose name escapes me at the moment, the ex-member for Waimakariri cannot accept the fact that here are some of these developers who are doing exactly what is needed in New Zealand, and that is providing housing, providing sections and providing homes for New Zealanders. So please stand up the ex-member for Waimakariri. Please stand up and give me the rationale behind why that can be a bad thing. The member for New Zealand First gave us a salutary story, very self-congratulatory story about how he managed to fix a 13-year impasse, but 17-year impasse between two supermarket chains. One was vexatiously preventing the development of the other. He managed to fix it within 18 months, and in fact he even cut the ribbon. What a guy. 18 months. Well, I've got good news for that member from New Zealand First, the failed mayor from... thank you very much, Campbell's Bay. I've got good news for that ex-mayor and now New Zealand First list member. This bill, which is shortly to become the law, and thank goodness for it, is going to cut down that consenting time down to 6 months. So he can rest assured, that member from where? Campbell's Bay, can rest assured that while he might have toiled away under the previous regime of the RMA, under this bill, that regime and that consenting regime will be cut down to 6 months. So let's hear that member or somebody from his party getting up on his feet and saying, that's a good job, Amy Adams, or Honourable Adi Adams. Actually, you've done a good job with the RMA, because that's what I believe. Because far from the fantasy which is expounded throughout this House that developers are rich and unscrupulous, and I wrote down other notes which I won't bother with this House, this kind of legislation is about getting good decision-making. It's not about affecting the nature of the decision. It is about coming to a good decision in a timely, cost-effective manner. Why? Because we can build houses, because we can build supermarkets. And I just want to finish my contribution on the other old sore the old 20th century saw that the National Party doesn't care about the environment. I won't go through the environmental gains that this government has put into effect. Oh, the more money spent on water rehabilitation than any other previous government in the 5 years that we've been the government. I just want to pick out a couple of small examples about how the environment does benefit from development, and that is the Opua Dam in South Canterbury and the Waireka Stream in North Otago. Both of those water catchments have been affected by irrigation development, and guess what? Both have benefited in terms of water quality. This is a good bill. This is a good government. Amy Adams is a very good Minister for the Environment. I support this bill to the House.
Sir William CO.
Speaker, thank you. I'll take a short call on this third reading. The member who just sat down has argued